Alright, welcome back. Round 3. We ended up ahead of time last round. We ended up finishing quite a few minutes early, which is really good for coverage, you know? We don't have to sit around here with 5 minutes of dead air. We've got round 3 coming up. We've got Alistair versus Bill.
Alistair's on a sweet one, so that's good to know.
I'm going to have to look up Alistair's name. That one... against Bill, playing also probably a sweet one.
I do not know what Bill is on, unfortunately. I got to sneak past the end of Alistair's match last round. So I saw him playing Yorion Death and Taxes.
Yorion Death and Taxes.
So you can see him on the left there with his 80 card deck he's trying desperately to shuffle.
That's impressive. Yorion
So
Death
yeah,
and
we just
Taxes.
just revealed a Yorion just from the command zone. Yeah, we'll put from the sideboard into the companion zone, wherever that is.
Alright, so we'll chuck in that there. Yorion D&T. And the opponent is Bill Jones. Now, I don't know what Bill is playing today. So let's head in to the game.
Well, that answers that question. We
off already?
We have Eldrazi Mimic can play on Ancient Tomb. So
Oh, gee whiz. I wonder what deck that could be.
sorry about that.
That's all good. Alright, so here we are. At the table. Very fast start here. We see Plains Aether Vial against Ancient Tomb Eldrazi Mimic. Very clear, you know, both players, very obvious what they're playing.
Basically the dream start for both decks too.
They're not trying to hide anything, that's for sure.
We have double Ancient Tomb from the Eldrazi deck into... Interesting, a 2/2 Endless one. Because we have something else to go with it.
Okay, what do we got going? Wow, there's going to be a lot of life total changes.
Oh, that's an aggressive draw. So it's basically a Delver on turn 1, got a 3 power 1 drop, functionally, and there's 7 power on play on turn 2.
That's a lot of nuts.
It's a lot of nuts.
So,
Alistair's going to want to find some blockers real quick.
The Death and Taxes deck, not the best at assembling blockers, at least not early, you know. They got some good 2-drops and 3-drops. You might see a Brightling at 3, although they will sort of get overpowered by, you know, if a Thought-Knot Seer or a Reality Smasher comes down, that's just something else. You know, they're never going to have the power to beat.
Stoneforge sort of blocks. It does get a Battleskull, which is a good way to stop an aggro deck.
The question from me is, does he have time?
I mean, if the next turn is a Smasher, the answer is conclusively no.
Very true, very true.
Because that puts through 14 power next turn.
Although if the next turn has a Thought-Knot Seer, that's arguably worse.
Yeah.
That'd come down.
Still 9 power and gets rid of the Battleskull.
That's right. Nabbing the Battleskull out of the hand would be huge.
Let's see what Bill's got here.
It's a tough spot. So he drew a
Cavern of
Ballista.
Souls, and there's one other card other than the Blister in hand. If that's a large Eldrazi, that's a beating.
Even just an endless one here would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Coming down for 5, just turning the Mimic into a 5/5. See if we can get Eldrazi Mimic on the screen here, rather than describing it.
Even the Blister's okay. You can just shoot the Stoneforge and get in for 7.
Sure.
That's not bad either.
So does Eldrazi Mimic work? It does work at copying a Ballista. That
Sure does.
I like that. That's really cute.
Yeah, you have to make a big Blister for it to
Yeah, sure. I mean, sure. So, Bill going down to 10 here. Those Ancient Tombs having their way with him.
His opponents, however, also at 10.
Very, very true. Very true. I think I had the life totals the wrong way around, but hey, we got there in the end. Wow, this is
It's a speedy game.
not a slow game, I'll tell you what. I wonder if we might have to move somebody else on the
I'm interested that Bill didn't elect to kill the Stoneforge there. I thought he would have been worried about the Battleskull, but maybe he's got a different plan for it?
You'd really hope that he does, because if he doesn't, this Battleskull's just sort of going to wreak havoc on his board of reasonably priced creatures.
Yeah. We've got a Wasteland there. The Richard and Paul getting Wastelanded is some karma going on.
Justice. What's the follow-up? you've got to think that he doesn't have a large Eldrazi here, and maybe now he's realizing that he would have been nicer served removing
maybe the plan is just to shoot the Batterskull after it blocks.
Okay.
And just like answer it that way, but
Sure.
I would have liked, I think, to kill the Batterskull, to kill the Stoneforge to prevent it from happening.
I guess my problem with shooting it after it blocks is that there's 4 life gain.
Yeah.
We see a twitch.tv/feedbeadtv token there as the germ. Jesse is a bit of a germ at times. Good bloke though. Shame he couldn't be here to commentate with us.
I was supposed to win today, but fortunately didn't work out that way.
Athalia coming down as well, so this is actually...
Food for the walking ballista.
Sure, yep, you're right.
I
If
think
not for that...
I'll be very surprised if that Thalia makes it to combat. Ooh.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, colour you surprised, I suppose.
I guess I'm surprised. Yes, we are going for the line of shooting the Batterskull off the blocks.
Yeah, so the germ dies.
I think I like the line here of shooting the Thalia and your own Mimic.
This is... So, he should be using these counters after damage is dealt.
Yeah, I mean, depends if he wants to save his Thalia, right? No, save his...
Yeah, assuming that he's not shooting the Thalia.
Yes.
Better to
Let damage happen.
let the damage happen first, so the ballista can deal some damage on the way out.
So I guess we'll have to see what Lightsaddles get to. Looks like it happened before damage.
A little bit unfortunate there.
Yeah,
And the
so-
Matter Reshaper turning into a City of Traders, into
Matter Shaper.
another Matter Reshape. All right.
Right, so it
Wheels keep
looks
spinning.
like we've kind of turned the corner here. There's 2 attackers and 2 blockers.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a Batterskull as well. So if
Bill's empty-handed, which is not ideal for him.
by some strange fashion Alistair makes his way up to 5 mana, that Batterskull can equip itself to Athalia. But I mean, even just with the 3rd land, you've then got the Batterskull bounce and replay.
There's also a Yarion in the companion zone.
Cute.
So for 5 mana, you can get the Batterskull to come back on its own.
Oh, very tricky. Okay, I like it.
So really, if Alistair has 2 more lands, that turn 5 really closes the door. You spend turn 4 getting Yarion back.
Very
turn 5.
true. Is there a world where you don't block here? Sorry, is there a world where you do block here? I should say.
I don't hate blocking here.
Okay.
Like I don't. This Matter Shaper isn't getting in for damage.
I mean, it could.
If your opponent,
at least this turn.
If your opponent's attacking with Thalia here, they expect to have things to block that Matter Shaper.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
So you have to assume they've got 2 more creatures off that vial and that mana. So I would just block to hope to find a good threat.
Now, Michael, what do you think about Alistair's choice of lands here?
They're very shiny.
I can see a foil Cold Snap,
Oh, they.
snow-covered plains, and an Ice Age plains, and a foil. I want to say that's an Odyssey Lightning Bolt plains.
I want to believe that Alistair is playing 35 planes in his 40-card deck, and they're all unique. I want to believe that every single land in that deck is a unique art.
So, Alistair going for the Flicker Wisp on the Germ. Sorry, on the Batterskull, getting the Germ back in.
Yep.
And then end of turn making this the Sword of Fire and Ice. There's a lot of pressure.
That's going to be a 6/6 germ potentially.
I think the sword goes on the
It's
flyer.
like either way. That's there are a lot of two toughness creatures on the board that die to a sword. Also, Bill's at 8 life.
Yeah. Okay. So there's multiple deterministic paths towards victory here.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
not looking ideal for Bill.
Bill's got 1 card. It could be. I guess the best interaction he would have here would be a Warping Whale, perhaps.
You like Warping Whale, that's like in response to the equip, and then he
Yeah.
equips to the Batterskull and kills you anyway.
I mean, you've got to do what you got to do. You
Yep.
get to buy a turn that way. You can still use the blocking ability of your Matter Reshaper. But this is a big Flicker Wisp in the air.
7 power, so still 7 damage.
Yeah, 5 power plus the ping. If that's
Yep.
not blocked, Bill's going to 1, and then there's 3 other creatures attacking.
This looks like a lethal attack.
No first strike tricks. There is a first strike trick, I guess, but it's not in his favour. We're going to find out here. Does Bill have something in hand?
Guess a Warping Whale would... Oh no, he can't even cast Warping Whale because of the... Oh, I guess he can because of the City of Traders. I was saying those 2 Ancient Tombs are off now.
Very true, very true. And Bill just doing the math there, recognizing, yep, okay, that is more than enough damage to kill me. Let's go on to the next game.
I guess there we saw both the strength and the weakness of the Eldrazi deck.
Yeah,
the strength
that's exactly right.
We had 7 power on turn 2. The weakness is we didn't have anything after that.
Yeah, it sort of just petered out. You know, I'm not sure what the card in hand at the end there was, but
Yeah, I didn't catch it either.
the Matter Reshape is very good if you're grinding, but in this case, he didn't want to grind. He wanted beef on the board. He wanted, you know, his 4/4s and his 5/5s. Possible there was something to do with the Walking Ballista that would have changed the lines there, but you know, this is the game that we played.
It's hard because the Eldrazi deck is really designed to beat down on the blues. Stacks. It's designed to play, you know, 4 Chalice of the Voids and Thorns of Amethyst, and make casting Ponder the worst thing you can be doing in the game.
I got really confused there. You said 4 Chalice, and my mind went to Vintage, where you can only play 1 Chalice.
Oh no, in this format you're allowed 4, and it's very good.
How many Mishra's Workshops can you play?
0, unfortunately. But we saw Steve's deck last round had 4 Ponder, 4 Predator, and 4 Brainstorm.
Yeah.
If your opponent leads on turn 1 Chalice, your deck is not looking good.
At times you see decks go deeper as well. You see Portent and... What's the other one?
I've cast a Predict or 2 in my time.
Predict? Yeah,
It's
okay.
2 mana, but
Alright.
also a cantrip. So yeah, like whereas Alistair's really like his 1-drops are. He's got, you know, Mums and Vials, but his power cards are all at 2. His power cards are mostly creatures, and so those Thorns of Amethyst also look pretty underwhelming. And it's really just tough for Bill that he's really not designed to fight the game that has been fight. It's the strength of his deck isn't to fight these matchups.
So I wonder if that changes after board.
I think as what I'd expect the Chalices to be leaving, I'd expect the Thorns of Amethyst to be leaving, and instead just have more creature threats, more cards that interact with the board and blockers and equipment.
Perhaps some Batterskulls of his own?
Potentially, the board for the Eldrazi deck has changed a lot, and you're a little bit limited because of your mana, obviously.
Sure, yep.
But things like Pithing Needle, for example, or Sorcerer's Spyglass to turn off Vials, to turn off equipment, more Warping Whales to kill creatures.
Yep.
Just some other big colorless creatures to block of your own.
Warping Whale is really quite a good card against Death and Taxes.
Yeah.
It can hit basically any of their threats.
Yep. Outside of the germ itself, everything else is basically one toughness.
Yeah, 1 toughness or 1 power.
Yeah, Stoneforge has got two power, but kindly just like to have 1 toughness for it, 1 power for us.
Yep.
So yeah.
As well as Giver of Runes, which typically I wouldn't see too many of in a Death and Taxes deck, but
If you're playing 80 cards.
that's right, Alistair. With 80 cards, you've got to play some cards, you know.
I mean, Giver of Runes is pretty good here because, you know, Mother Rune
Sure.
has the weakness of not getting colorless.
Very true,
So
very true.
Normally Eldrazi kind of chuckles at that card because they don't have any colored spells.
Yep.
But maybe they'll dismember.
Sure, yep.
But now, whereas Giver of Runes is really, really powerful in this matchup, actually, because they have very little removal and a lot of colorless creatures.
That's very true. I mean, there's still the trample on Reality Smasher, which, you know, trample does beat protection in some regards. You won't kill the creature, but you'll still get the damage through.
Yep. But it means they can get together some big suited up creature and have it rumble with Eldrazi, which is...
Yeah, definitely. Alright, drawing the opening hands. That is... Alice is really struggling to shuffle that 80 card monstrosity.
It's a lot of sleeves. It's a lot of cards.
It reminds me of back in, would have been 2012 or 2013 at FNM, there was a Battle of Wits mirror match.
Oh god.
Yeah, they were both using Fat Pack boxes as deck boxes, or bundles as they're known now as deck boxes. It was a good game. One of the games was won by a Praetor's Grasp.
I have very vivid memories of one of my friend's first ever head judge events where we cobbled together to get a Battle of Woods deck on the table, a competitive RL, just so that we make him deck check it.
Gross.
I'm like, well, if you're gonna do it, we're gonna make you deck check it.
See, I'm actually friends with judges. So here we see on screen, the reason Alistair's got such a large pile of cards there, Urion sitting in the companion zone, in the command zone. Is that where it sits?
Oh,
No, No, it's in your sideboard.
It lives in your sideboard. It's actually in your sideboard. You reveal it.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think revealing it changes its zone. It just hangs out in the companion zone, which is actually your sideboard, but face up. That's a weird mechanic.
But on the flip side, he just has this extra threat that if the game does go long enough, 3 mana to put it in hand, and then some amount of time later you pay 5 and
it's really powerful too because
it's a 4/5 flyer.
Well, I mean, like D&T is designed around synergies with like Flicker Wisp, and so you've got Stone Forges and Flicker Wisps and equipment to make the Urion trigger good, as well as often wanting things to equip to, and so a 4/5 carries a sword pretty well.
You can even Urion your Flicker Wisp, your Urion.
Yeah, you sure can.
Your Flicker Wisp, your Urion.
Yep.
Oof. See, once upon a time here. I thought you said there was no coloured spells in the deck, Michael.
I said no targeted ones. Good luck mother using this one.
Yeah, very true, very true.
I see a Thought Not Seer on top. I can't see what else is in there, but this is like a Simian Spirit Guide, perhaps.
Okay.
Cavern of Souls, cool.
Eye of Ugin.
Eye of Ugin. Oh, that's right. Similar. That's a pretty good card in this deck.
Yeah, Eye of Ugin, very powerful. Leads to some of the most explosive draws in the deck. There's a reason that this card got banned from Modern.
Yep.
It was exactly turn 1 Eye of Ugin, double Eldrazi Mimic, which we see here is not happening.
No, you have turn 1 Eye of Ugin, go.
Little unfortunate, but
I would expect that means that turn 2 we're going to see something big and beefy. There's a Sorcerer's Spyglass there, which is a little sad.
Okay.
Doesn't. Oh, never mind.
That's a really nice Wasteland as well. That's a Judge Foil, I believe. Or the Magic Player Rewards, maybe?
Alright, well, Eye of Ugin are no longer in play. We have a...
Is that a Mishra's Factory?
I think so.
Or a Wasteland of his own?
It looks like a factory, I suspect, but it's
Either
hard
way.
to tell. So it looks like that Wasteland effectively shut off any powerful plays on Bill's side, and we're going back to playing Fair Magic.
I guess my question is, what happens if Bill draws a second Once Upon a Time? Twice Upon a Time,
Then he's sad.
Yeah, it's difficult to cast. We see a
There
Spyglass.
are Elvish Spirit Guides in the deck,
Okay,
so you can cast it,
sure. Cute.
but not very likely.
Alright, so Sorcerer Spyglass revealing Salt Splasher, Stoneforge Mystic, Thalia, Recruiter of the Guard, and 2 planes and a Caracas?
Yeah, so this is a little awkward here. Like, the Spyglass is ideally you want to name whatever the Stoneforge is going to get, but you don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think it's just naming Stoneforge Mystic
That
here.
seems reasonable.
I can't see exactly what's written on there, but I'm glad that the players tried. We're going to run with the assumption that it's Stoneforge Mystic. So as for the rest of the hand, we can see turn 2 Thalia, turn 3 Recruiter, go get something. Nope, never mind, we drew an Aether Vial.
It's a good draw.
Holding up a Swords to Plowshares. So, Bill doesn't even have the ability to pressure with...
City Trader's not bad here.
Oh.
So we've got a Thought Not Seer, yeah.
Okay.
This will get out.
Not firing off the plow in response?
Yeah.
Thinking?
I think Alistair's doing a quick read of Thought Not Seer and figuring out how the card works.
Uh-huh. Now they might have to discuss whether he can Swords to Plowshares in response. Alright.
Yep. You went to reveal the house like, hold on a minute, let me read this card.
That Thought Not Seer will need to go into the exile zone, but hopefully they'll figure that out.
And then we get to see an extra card from Thought Not Seer draw, and this is how Thought Not Seer, right? Like, that Swords was trading with the creature either way, but now he gets to trade with Thought Not Seer gets to get the Swords and the second best card in his hand.
Exactly, yeah.
So, which we decided was the Recruiter of the Guard. And so now there's a Stoneforge Mystic and a Thalia and not much else.
The Thought Not did get exiled. Love your work. On 24 life. I'm sure. There you go. Yep, they figured out how to represent it. This is all going according to plan. I tell you what, there's a professional organisation here. You assume there's some pain lands in the deck as well? Yeah, okay. That'd help with casting, I guess, both Dismember and Once Upon a Time.
I'm trying to think what the lands in this deck are. I was like 4 City Traders, 4 Ancient Tomb, 4 Eye of Ugin.
Yep.
And then...
X Cavern of Souls, X Mishra's Factory.
Yeah, that doesn't leave a lot of space. It's not a very high land count deck. You really only want 2 or 3 land.
And then Wastelands, of course.
Yeah, and once upon a time it might be 1 or 2 of them. In fact, you could only play 1, potentially.
True, very true.
This deck isn't really designed to draw many cards beyond your opening 7. So
the Stone Frog coming down here. What are we tutoring for?
if it's not named, if Batterskull isn't the card that's, if you can get Batterskull in play, but you haven't named Stoneforge, then I get Batterskull, and if they have named Stoneforge, then I would go and get a different equipment. I quite like Jit here if you've got access to that.
Yeah, Jite is always good. It's not as good against the large creatures, but it's still certainly fine.
Once you get one hit on a Jite, then you can rumble because you can represent +4/+4.
Very true. And there is still the Swords of Plowshare. Oh no, the Plowshares got used. Recruiter of the Guard is the big payoff for Urion. Okay, sure, because you can flicker the Recruiter, go get a Flicker Wisp, and then you can flicker the Urion and
you can you can just get a Recruiter every turn. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
that's an endless one for 2.
I guess he just wanted to play a different land
and a temple and a
I guess he's like, if I'm gonna lose the temple, I think anyway,
sure.
may as well. So we've got a thought on interesting. I wonder if it was more efficient to not play the endless one there and just like not play a land, cast Thought Knot Seer.
I think the better play, in my opinion, would be to play the Thought Knot Seer first, get the information on whether you want to play the endless one.
Yeah.
But your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
Jite on Thalia, we're being told, is a very good dog. Is that a Remorseful Cleric? I don't know what the top card of
I didn't see it.
of Alistair's hand there was.
Just straight up didn't.
That sword needs to be exiled. Just a quick aside. Hopefully the players will catch that. The Thought Knot Seer should be exiling the sword.
Will look like not exciting in this matchup, but it is still 2/1 flyer.
Yeah, I think that was Remorseful Cleric. Maybe it's just in because flyers
it's a 2/1 flyer.
Flyers are good.
You have 80 cards in your deck. Some of them might be worse than Remorseful Cleric.
Very true, very true. I mean, look, when you get to play 95 cards, you can't really complain about, some of the flex slots you get access to. Yeah, 80 in the main, 15 in the board.
Yeah, the Eldrazi deck is still in trouble. It heard that lands tap for 1 mana and would like to respectfully disagree.
Lands tap for 1, speak for yourself.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to give up the option to play colours in exchange instead my lands tap for 2.
That's right. And then, I mean, the Death and Taxes deck's just like, what are lands? I've got an Ether Vial here.
Yeah, I mean, like, it makes sense in the deck. I just don't think you're ever wanting to exile the Eldrazi player's graveyard, but maybe it's worth keeping in.
Yeah, look, what's the thought process here? He's holding 5 cards?
Yeah, I don't know what's in his hand.
We know about a Thalia.
Yeah, I mean, I assume... yes, this is round 3.
This is round 3, yes sir.
I presume that that Thalia is coming down on the vial at some point, so we're just figuring out... Oh, there we go. What are we flickering? Do we want to kill the...
So...
We can get another equipment, or we can kill the...
Kill the endless one?
Kill the endless one.
The third option would be to wait one more turn and flicker out the Spyglass.
Yeah, and then you can put the Batterskull in play.
Yeah, that's right.
Although I don't think he got the Batterskull, right?
No, he got the Sword of Fire and Ice, which has been Thought Knot Seared in the meantime.
Yeah. I guess we're going to get another equipment, and we might see the Jedi this time, or
I
maybe
did see
see a Batterskull.
a cheeky equipment coming out of the sideboard. It's not tailor-made for this matchup, but, it's in the similar vein of Sword of Fire and Ice, and just, it's a good card, and connecting with it would be good. There we see it, the Sword of Feast and Famine.
It's not for this matchup, but it does make you guys big, and it does give you a mana advantage, which is important.
It gives you a huge mana advantage, yeah. So the sword's part of a cycle. If you didn't know, there's 7 of them, 8 of them. They all give you protection from 2 colours and an ability for each of them. G'day, Savar. This is round 3 out of 5 rounds.
Are we counting sort of Dungeons and Dragons as part of the cycle?
Look, Sword of Dungeons and Dragons was really awkward. It gave protection from rogues and clerics, and there was only one in the set. It was a shapeshifter. So the changeling in the set was the only rogue.
They couldn't have chosen like wizards and warriors,
right?
Those cards exist,
right?
All right.
Getting in here with the lads.
Yep, we've got a Thalia coming in to get in the way of that.
Yeah,
endless one.
Thalia's real good at blocking 2/2s.
This is the reason I liked making a bigger endless one. Is that endless one really isn't getting involved in combat in a meaningful way in this matchup.
There's some amount of flavour to be had here with the Stoneforge Mystic versus the Eldrazi.
Yeah.
Hit, defend her plane.
crafting swords for her friends to valiantly fight off the Eldrazi.
Yeah, I mean, her friends came from far and wide.
Yeah, pulled in from Innistrad and wherever the hell Flickerwith was from.
Lorwyn.
Yeah, sure.
So we're now in a situation where Urion's a real threat here, you know?
Yeah.
The mana is getting towards the position where Urion can come down. We're not quite at 5 mana yet. But you could see, 3 to add it to hand now, 5 to play it in a couple of turns. And when it does come down, we're getting a new Flickerwisp, we're getting a new Stoneforge Mystic. It'll be a big play. I'm not sure what Bill can do to dig himself out of this hole.
I mean, like, the answer is always more Reality Smashes.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Reality Smash is a big dog.
He smashes some realities. If you're worried about clocking your opponent, that's going to do it.
Caracas and Urion, that's cute. I like it.
Yeah, this DT deck is sweet. I really like there's a lot of just, like, you're playing a bunch of good cards that happen to have synergies.
Urion with a sword is bigger than all Eldrazi except the Endless one.
Yeah, it's endlessly large. It's right there on the card.
How big is it? Pretty big. I mean, I could be that I'm actually guy and point out Emrakul and...
We're unlikely to see those.
I don't think so. We could see something like a World Breaker at the top end, but
It's hard to
doubt
cast.
it. Yeah, I mean, Cavern of Souls is good, but that's about it.
You've only got like 4 of those, really, so...
Alright, so we're tutoring up a Remorseful Cleric.
There's a Skyclave Apparition.
Was that?
Yes.
Oh.
Which seems excellent here as a way to deal with the Lord of Seal.
Yes.
Master Shaper.
Skyclave Apparition is a really good card. I've been super impressed by this card.
Yeah.
Just playing it a little bit in my Highlander decks. I haven't played a ton of Highlander. I've been watching more Highlander than I've been playing. But Skyclave, it's gotten me out of a lot of situations.
I mean, I've been playing Modern, had it kill a lot of Jaces.
Gross.
It's very upsetting.
I mean, you get a 4/4.
You do, eventually.
Eventually. It's definitely the, if Thought Not Seer is related to Thoughtseize, Skyclave Apparition is related to Beast Within,
Yeah.
The Factories, getting in there.
Alright. Here we go.
Well,
Got a clock in. I expect to see an Apparition show up in the next, 4 seconds.
yeah, I mean, what are the other options here? Let's find out. Apparition, okay.
Yep, and then we get to draw a card. And we get to do some blocking. Those factories are still bigger than the blockers, which is good.
Factories are 2/2s, yep. Recruiter's a 1/1, Stoneforge is a 1/2, Skyclave's a 2/2.
The blocking with it's going to hurt because that gives the 4/4 right back.
Yeah, I mean, it gives a 4/4 with no text, which
Yeah.
is different. I don't know, better or worse.
I mean, technically it's better, right? Like, the only text on it once it's in play is a downside.
That's right. We're getting another slideshow here. Hopefully it sorts itself out. Enjoy waiting another 5 years for another white playable rare. That's it. I mean...
There's a Urion here as well. There's 2 cards in this year.
Yeah. Urion was... It was last year.
20 time is an illusion, okay?
2020.
March was like 2 months ago. I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, that was January, February, March, December.
Yep.
That's just what happened this year. Stoneforge getting frisky. No respect for the factories. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage coming across. Bill down to 12.
I mean, also only on 9, so there's 7 power in play currently.
Alright, here's a question for
Yeah?
you, Michael. Is Alistair playing a Urion in the deck?
Ooh. That'd be spicy.
That would be, wouldn't
You
it?
can't shoot her for it though.
Yeah,
If Recruiter could find it, I'd be all for it. Is that a Charming Prince? Is that what that is?
I'm glad you recognize it, because I don't.
Yep, that sure is a Charming Prince. It's doing the flicker on the Recruiter to go get more stuff.
Okay, sure.
Value train's really going off here. You're gonna see some very impressive Urioning very soon.
It is out of frame, so I will have to adjust things, but that's gonna be a cool little chain here.
So now that, like, if that Urion comes down now, that's just game over. Like,
Absolutely.
that's so much value here. So I mean, Bill really has 2 turns before the game ends.
Yeah. Hey Ella, can you ask the player to just move things up on the playmat so the Charming Prince is more visible? That card there is not visible. Basically, this is the edge of the play area. Just get him to set up 2 rows of creatures.
Yep.
We're doing it live!
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess what we could hope for here out of Bill, as he's just passed the turn and decided that he doesn't have it, would be an All Is Dust.
Oh, yeah, Bill Jones isn't a real name. It's just 2 draws in a trench coat. I agree.
Yeah, if Bill had All Is Dust here, you know, that would put him ahead.
It'd be close.
Oh, actually, but yeah, Alistair's still got 5 cards.
I'm gonna go look for a snack.
Sure, I'll have a snack.
I'll have a snack.
I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing.
We'll find out. Yeah. So
Was that an end of turn Flicker Wisp on the recruiter, getting another Flicker Wisp?
Yep. So we're in a situation now where if Bill Jones could order his deck to be All Is Dust, Reality Smasher, I think he would still lose.
Yeah, I mean Urian and 5 cards in hand is a hell of a beat.
There's a lot of Flicker Wisps going on right now. It's not looking good.
Do you remember that card? It was a defining factor in one of the strongest decks of Standard of all time, Squadron Hawk.
Imagine if Squadron Hawk was a 3/1 and didn't cost mana.
Whew! And had flash?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yowza. Flicker Wisp just putting the pain on
I
here.
mean, this is like a different angle from the D&T of old, right?
Yeah.
Like D&T of old was mana denial you and then hope that you died to the anemic beats. Mm-hmm. Whereas there's some endgame planning here. Like
that's right. This is
powerful stuff.
This deck can grind. I feel like, you know, it can grind, but a Wrath followed up by, you know, say if you had, you know, Dead of Winter into Snap Dead of Winter, the game would be over.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Alistair's still
And
sitting
then
there
Alistair
with...
just draws another.
Yeah, I mean, Alistair's still just sitting there with 25 cards in hand.
Yeah, like you double wrath him, and then he draws a recruiter until he gets his drawing from the sideboard, and then he goes off again.
Is there any Mill in the room?
I don't think so.
Because, I mean, you know, Mill's not a legacy deck by any means.
No.
But, I mean, some people choose to play decks that they shouldn't play.
Oh, and there we go. It turns out that Bill had enough. There was one too many Flicker Wisps in play.
Yeah, I mean, it was the gift that kept on giving there, those Flicker Wisps. Let's check out our timer and see if we can come back with some between round content. I hope you've been enjoying the interviews in between the rounds. You know, getting Justin in here, getting Stephen in here. Perhaps if he's available, we'll get Alistair in here as well and see if there's any sweet tech in that DMT list.
Grab and see what's talk about it.
Yeah. So all right. Well, we'll be back in just a mo. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for hanging out.
Michael. Thanks for joining me for round 3.
See if Alistair wants to have a chat.
Yeah. We'll see you in a sec. All right, welcome back. I'm joined here by Alistair.
How's it
Welcome
going?
in.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on that victory. What a cool deck.
Yeah, thank you.
There was a lot of cards I wasn't expecting to see. There was, Remorseful Cleric, I think, showed its head.
Yep.
Skyclave Apparition, which makes sense once you think about it, but
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for it. Charming Prince as well.
So when you're playing 80 cards, you've got to find some way to fill the slots. And they're filled with a whole bunch of one-offs.
Okay.
So I'm actually playing 4 Skyclaves because that card is
yeah, sure.
fantastic, especially when you're facing up against an Oko, actually having some main deck.
Sure, yeah.
answers to that is
It's just
really nice.
a clean removal for it, absolutely.
Yeah, and then the Charming Prince and the Remorseful Clerics are both one-offs
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even one-offs show up from time to time. I mean,
Yeah,
especially when
absolutely.
you've got tutors for them.
Yeah, the Recruiter definitely helps with that.
So what would you say is the spiciest card in the deck?
So I'm playing a believe it or not, a reasonably stock Yorion D&T list.
Okay.
That was put together by XJ Cloud. But,
Okay.
I do have my favorite card that I've sort of slotted into it, which is Thalia Heretic Cathar. So that's the
Ooh.
3 mana Thalia, which makes your opponent's creatures and non-basic lands come into play tapped.
That's really cool. That's a big tempo play.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite card that no one plays because I like to watch people on multicolored decks as a mono white player squirm as they have to put their fetch lands into play tapped.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I really like this card as a
Yeah.
one-off, and it actually won me a game earlier today against Blue Red Delver.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you played against Blue Red Delver, you played against Eldrazi. What was your other round? The one we didn't get to see.
That was Rug Delver.
Okay, so Blue
Yeah.
Red Delver and Rug Delver.
Yeah, there's a lot of Delver here today, so
Wow.
I've slotted a few more Path to Exiles. People who are used to the 60 card D&T list will know Death and Taxes generally plays 4 swords in the main and then 2 paths in the side, but we put all of them into the main deck
Wow.
when we've got 80 cards.
Yeah, okay, I mean, that makes sense. You sort of want them as a percentage of your draws.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, if you leave it just as 4 removal spells, you're going to see them fewer times. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Path to Exile, really good, of course, against 3-color Delver decks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not sure how good it is against the 2-color decks. Do they play basics, I guess?
They do play basics, so it's not ideal, but it's better than being bashed to death by a Delver.
Yeah, I
so-
mean, people still play Assassin's Trophy, so
well, exactly.
yeah, it's that good. Cool. All right. What are you hoping to not run into in the next few rounds?
There's a really good lands player here.
Okay.
And that matchup stresses me out.
Sure.
Not necessarily because it's unfavored, but it's very complicated.
Sure. Yeah, a bit of a mental drain.
Yeah, you get some extremely complicated board states. And of course, Doomsday, which is probably Death and Tax's worst matchup.
Yep.
But I think there's only one person here playing Doomsday, mostly because it's not a particularly great deck against Delver.
Yeah, we haven't seen. There's a lot of Delver in the room, and not much in the unfair axis today.
No, I think there's one Sneak and Show player as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Alistair.
No, you're very
Congrats
welcome.
on the round 3 win, and good luck for the rest of the tournament, mate.
Thank you very much. See you soon.